Topic 8-1, referenced with our whole textbook, Chapter 7, Section 1, on page 454 through 461. A practical application mentioned in our book was about how the Lord of the Rings movie used proportions and ratios to help with the special effects, showing the models in proportion to the real life. And anyway, kind of cool stuff if you want to check that out in our textbook. First, let's look at some vocabulary. Ratios is a comparison of two numbers by division. Always in this example, when they show this, it's 4 of 6. You could say of being 4 to 6, 4 of 6, but it always means to divide. So you can actually end up even reducing each one of these to see if they were congruent to one another. A proportion is two ratios that are equal, and the cross products are also equal. Review cross products from algebra, and that is where you're taking the numerator of one to the denominator of the other and multiplying. AD, you would multiply together, and you set that equal to BC. And again, these are considered your extremes, and BC are called your means, just for future reference of more definition terms. For example 1, you're to determine whether each pair of ratios forms a proportion. 4 is to 6 as 12 is to 16. Cross products gives you 16 times 4 and 6 times 12. 16 times 4 is 64, and 6 times 12 is 72. This is determining that those are not equal, so your answer would be no. Is 3/5 the same as 6/10? Well, 3 times 10 is 30, and 6 times 5 is 30. So that checks out, so these would be yes. Alright, examples number 2. Solve for each of the following proportions. Again, you multiply cross products. 4 times A and 7.8 times 3.82. You get 4A is equal to 29.796. Divide by 4 on both sides. Your answer is 7.449. I showed in red the examples for 3, 4, and 5. I won't walk through in words, but take a minute and pause it to copy these down, just remembering to distribute through when you're multiplying 7 times 2x plus 2. I'm sorry, 7 times x plus 2. Carry down the answer. Your x's together means I need to subtract 7 on both sides. And after I've subtracted, I get a 4, negative 4x. And then divide by that negative 4 gives me a negative 3.5. So take a minute to distribute, subtract, and divide. Distribute, subtract, and divide. Pause it to finish copying that. We'll move on. You can solve many problems that involve equal ratios by using proportions. Josephina sells helium balloons. She charges $9 for 12 balloons. At this rate, what would she charge for 50 balloons? So notice I put over here words first. Make sure you put these in words first. What we want is how much she charges for how many per balloon, for the balloons. So at a rate of $9 for 12, how many balloons would she have for 50? Cross product, you've got 12x is equal to 450, and divide by 12, you're left with x equals to $37.50. Remember, we're looking for money on that one. Number 7. A photocopy machine copies 50 pages in 1.5 minutes. At this rate, how long is the machine going to take to copy 90 pages? Well, if I can do 50 pages for every 1.5, and remember, pages to pages, minutes to minutes. Keep your ratios similar going across. I can do 90 pages in how many minutes? cross product, you've got 50x is equal to 135. Divide both sides by 50, and x would be 2.7 minutes. Alright, I put a star on this one because this one's a little bit challenging in the wording. You have to be careful. They're asking for two opposite things. A recent school bond issue passed 3 out of every 4 votes in favor of the bond. So if that's how many are in favor of the bond, these are the number of people who voted against the bond. So first we need to find the total of how many not in favor to the total. Well, if 3 out of every 4 voted in favor, that leaves us 1 out of every 4 not in favor. So 1 person out of 4 would not be in favor of this bond. So not, remember I had to keep my ratios together, there were a total of 2,550 who were against in this sample. So what is my total? So when you cross product, you're actually finding the total number of people here. That's what my x is going to find out. It's my total number. So I won't be through when I'm finished with this problem. Once you multiply 4 times 2,550, you get 10,200. That's not my answer because your answer, they're wanting the ones that are in favor. Well, if these are the ones that are not, this is the total not, and this is your actual total, you would be subtracting the 2,550. Take a minute to study the way this problem is worded, because you want, the main thing you're doing in putting things in words first is to make sure you're looking for the right thing they're asking for. They wanted to know how many were in favor, but they gave us 2 different things, the in favor and the against. So we first had to just find out what our total was and subtract the ones that were not in favor to find out the total number of people in favor. And that is section 8-1.